All right, following a crappy day on Pt.1 yesterday, we did still manage to improve to 2-0 in our last two personal board member tier package bets on that very website. And the link for today's board member tier package bet is in the description section below. We're also hitting at 71% in our last 14 personal bets in that very same package. Now, we currently have over 835 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. And if you want to check out my current personal record for free, you can do that right now by going to the homepage on Brockpage.com. Now, for those who are interested in signing up for my board member tier, just keep in mind that not only are you going to get access to today's board member tier package bet, you're also going to get full access to every single package that I offer on that website all the way through the end of March. It's an all-inclusive package. Now, if you're not signed up for that membership, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, or you don't care, I'll explain a little bit more about it in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal bets on Brockpage.com, and I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. Now, the purpose of these YouTube videos is to provide you with free informational sports betting content, and it's also designed to generate interest in signing up for a membership on my website. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my webpage. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side in total, or most of the games at least. And then what I do on my website is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some college basketball action. We're going to go ahead and do the Part 1, Part 2 format again. Wanted to change things up over the past couple of days. Typically, the fewer videos I produce in a day, the more views each video gets. So really, I'm not so concerned about how many views I get, but I want to get new viewers, like new subscribers. So that was the whole point of that, but we're going to go ahead and go to the format that we're used to. But anyway, let's go ahead and do some picks. We're going to start with Alabama taking on LSU. And that's going to be a 12 o'clock Eastern tip-off on Saturday, March 5th, 2022. LSU's minus 3.5 with the total at 152. Excuse me. Now, the LSU Tigers have been nearly impossible to beat at home this season. These guys are 15-2 straight up at the Maravich Assembly Center. And simply put, guys, you really can't score any points against them in that building. The Tigers are in the top 5 in the nation in home defensive field goal percentage, and they're limiting their competition to only 58 points a game on their home court. Now, scoring-wise, Tari Eason is averaging over 16.5 points per contest, along with 6 boards. Meanwhile, Darius Glory Days is averaging over 13 points a game himself, along with 7 rebounds. LSU scoring over 77 points a game in front of their home crowd. They're doing a nice job grabbing offensive rebounds in that same category. Now, they're taking on an Alabama team who really doesn't play all that well on the road. As a matter of fact, these guys got the W in just 3 out of 9 road games this season. And they're allowing 82 points a game in those contests. And if that's not bad enough, the Tide's also amongst the worst in the SEC in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Bama went 70% to the over in their last 10 ball games. They're also 79% to the over in all of their contests away from home. Meanwhile, LSU's averaging 75 points per contest in their last 10 meetings with Alabama. Matter of fact, the Tigers went 60% to the over in those head-to-head meetings as well. I'm going to lean toward LSU minus 3.5 and the over 152. Next contest, it is going to be Arkansas versus Tennessee, 12 o'clock Eastern start time. Tennessee's minus 6 with the total at 139.5. Now, the Vols have gone 15-1 straight up at home this season, and they've made it quite difficult for their opponents to score against them. Tennessee's allowing only 60 points a game at home this year, And they're limiting their competition to just 39% shooting from the field there. Now, when it comes to offensive production in this one, Kennedy Chandler's leading the charge with over 13.5 points a game, along with 3 rebounds and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Santiago Vescovi's making nearly 40% of his three-pointers. He's also averaging 13 points a game as well. And speaking of offensive production, the Vols are amongst the better offensive rebounding teams in the SEC. Now they're taking on an Arkansas club who failed to cover in their last 2 straight. And they've also been little threat shooting the 3-ball this season. And as a matter of fact, the Razorbacks are making just 30% of their three-pointers for the entire year. Now, defensively, on the other end of the court, we're looking at, a few problem areas, not too many, but one of the things that I'm concerned about is, the rebounding category. Arkansas is having a tough time grabbing defensive rebounds in certain spots. So you may want to think about that. Arkansas might end up getting out-rebounded here today. Now, total-wise, Arkansas saw their last 3 straight get over the posted number. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Tennessee. Meanwhile, the Vols are averaging 77 points a game against Arkansas in those very contests I just mentioned. Tennessee also saw overs recently against the likes of Missouri, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. I'm going to lean toward Tennessee -6. And the over 139.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for part 1. It is going to be Villanova versus Butler, 12 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Villanova's -8.5, totals 128. Nova won 9 out of their last 11. And they do a real nice job defensively on the road. Now, the Cats are allowing only 67 points a game when they travel. And they're limiting their opponents to just 40% shooting from the field in that same category. Colin Gillespie, he's averaging 16.5 points per contest, along with 3 boards and 3 assists. Now, Gillespie's also making 92% of his foul shots and 43% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Justin Moore, he's scoring over 15 points a game himself, along with 5 rebounds and a couple assists as well. Nova's averaging over 80 points a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Butler. And speaking of the Bulldogs, they're on a 4-game losing streak. They averaged only 60 points a game during that stretch. And speaking of offensive problems, Butler's actually averaging only 63 points a game for the entire season. And no real surprise here, they're amongst the worst in the Big East in offensive rebounding. Now, when it comes to covering the point spread, Butler's getting the job done against the number in only 35% of their home games. When it comes to the total in this one, 6 out of Butler's last 9 ball games got over the line. And I'll tell you what, in these schools' last 10 head-to-head meetings, the total went over 9 times. Meanwhile, Nova on the other side, they are 64% to the over when they travel. I'm going to lean toward Villanova -8.5 and the over 128. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on BrockPage.com, you're actually going to get access to that content all the way through the end of March. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website or in our part 2 video in just a few hours. But I look forward to seeing you on my website at BrockPage.com.